It's Robin Lustig here, your host for BBC World Drama, our weekly showcase of the best drama from around the world. Last year, in conjunction with King's College London Medical School and its Unit of Medicine and Arts, BBC World Drama ran a writing workshop for midwives, medical students, obstetricians and a doula, a professional birthing partner, inviting them to write about their experiences connected to birth. It was led by the writer Claire Luckham, who has worked with them since to develop their pieces and to turn them into the hour that you're about to hear. Combined with poetry and interviews from around the world, they give a sometimes graphic account of the intense, joyous and occasionally heartbreaking experience of what unites us all, being born.
Birthing Stories, a collaboration between BBC World Service Drama and King's College London, dramaturged and compiled by Claire Luckham, with Tanya Moody, Susan Lynch and Anna Maria Marinka.
Sophie, intensive care nurse on maternity leave. Monday, 11 a.m. 6 days late. Let's book you onto the consultant's overdue list, the midwife sings cheerfully. That always gets them out. I imagine taking such an approach in my intensive care unit. I waddle slowly back down the hill in the 30-degree heat to sit naked in front of my kitchen fan. Sod the surprised looks of the passers-by. Tuesday, 8 a.m, 7 days late. I stand alone by my kitchen sink, crying uncontrollably. It's not fair. I want a baby. Ridiculous, really. It's got to come out sometime. I hope. Wednesday, 2 a.m, 8 days late. I can't get comfortable in this airless heat. I gaze out of the window and ponder how much time will pass before I can sleep peacefully once more. It's a clear night, and a moon as large as my rounded belly is watching me back.
It is well known that we are born. It is well known that in the room or in the woods or in the hut in the fisherman's district, or in the crackling cane fields, there is a very unusual silence, a moment solemn as wood, and a woman gets ready to give birth. It is well known that we were born.
I never expected to be out that night. Nighttime. Always nighttime, it seems now. Hale-Bopp comet in the sky and foxes waiting at pedestrian crossings. Phone going. Groggy, sleep-addled, I have to snap awake. Hello? Yes? Give me your number? Then dressed and out. Dark streets, feeling sleep deep around me, and I feel bright, adrenaline-fueled, never quite knowing what is coming. Ushered into dark rooms, a centuries-old institution. The midwife has arrived. Anxiety floods you from all around, mother, father, friend, but the woman is lost, in her own space, rocking, moaning. I feel the pressure of another, the new person waiting to join us. I feel relaxed. It will be okay. I want to stay here, she says. That's okay, I say. Why not? A pact. We smile, and the others don't matter. This baby wants to join us here at home, to take its first breath. The woman crouches in a corner and starts to push.
The angel that presided o'er my birth said, "Little creature formed of joy and mirth, go love without the help of anything on earth."
It's coming! Oh, very well done. Well done.
Congratulations. 6:24. Baby born at 6:24. The midwife lays her on her mother's stomach, outside just above where she was before when she was inside.
Christine, midwife.
Maria, midwife. Community midwife.
midwives.
She's beautiful. Are you going to cut the cord?
I had thought so little, really, of her inside me all that time. Not breathing, intelligent, maybe curious, her eyes closed. When the vagina opened slowly from within, from the top, my eyes rounded in shock and awe. It was like being entered for the first time, but entered from the inside, the child coming in from the other world. Enormous, stately, she was pressed through the channel. She turned and rose. They held her up by a very small ankle. She dangled indigo and scarlet and spread her arms out in this world. Each thing I did then, I did for the first time. Touched the flesh of our flesh, brought the tiny mouth to my breast. She drew the avalanche of milk down off the mountain. I felt as if I was nothing, no one. I was everything to her. I was hers. That's the documentation completed. 7:54, we're finished here.
Shall I see you out?
I'll take the oxygen.
That is what I would call a beautiful, normal labor.
Normal labor is spontaneous and occurs between 37 and 42 weeks gestation.
Normal labor culminates in the birth of a live, healthy infant.
Normal labor is completed within 24 hours and there are no maternal complications.
Normal labor can take place at home.
In 2005, 2.53% of births in England took place at home.
My name is Blanca Navarro. I came from Philippines. Before birth, if we are pregnant, we are not allowed to look at the dead body or person who are in a coffin because we will have a difficulty in giving birth, or we might as well die, or the baby dies.
I'm from Sichuan province in the southwestern part of China. In my hometown, people call pregnancy 嗨喜, which literally means commit a happiness. It's called so, I think, because it's related to a traditional concept in China. You know, for many generations, Chinese people think it's not fealty if one doesn't have an offspring.
I'm Runmai Ranade. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai itself, and I'm married in a Maharashtrian family, though they hail from Madhya Pradesh. Whatever you want your child to become, you have a lot of hand in it. So you're supposed to tell lots of stories to the child, and now it is known that the baby can hear it in the womb also, the music.
My name is Freddy Trequil. I'm from the south. Mapuche people originate from the south. Firstly, they are people who are entrusted to tend to the woman when they are about to give birth. Sometimes these people are women, but also men. To have a baby, you need two people, but to raise a child, you need a community.
6:30 a.m. I need a pee. I try to summon the energy to get out of bed. Water is suddenly everywhere. Clinically, I know this is a good thing. House husbandly, it's a disaster. I kick Steve awake. He stares in a panic, as though he's only just discovered I'm pregnant. I feel strong contractions beginning and wonder if the antenatal class runs last-minute revision sessions.
Katie Burns.
Zhuang Chu.
Midwives working in a hospital in London.
Morning.
How are you this morning, Zhuang?
You really want to know?
Lola Bart, student midwife. I'm late, my watch has stopped.
6:48 a.m. I enter the hospital for the first time as a client rather than staff. On labour ward, between ever more rapid and forceful contractions, I breathlessly answer the same questions I've been asked for the last 7 months, whilst the midwife rummages through her tower of equipment. Take off your knickers so that I can examine you, she orders. At least my patients have the privilege of unconsciousness when I do things like this to them, I think. I obey. Blimey, let me know, a muffled voice declares.
Jinping people think a pregnant woman or a woman in childbirth is not pure. So they have many taboos for pregnant women and the woman in childbirth. In their opinion, the death is the most important thing. They have an altar which is called Holohuang. This is the most holy place to worship their own family ancestors. She cannot be eaten with other family members. her blood bowl and chopsticks should be set along.
My name is Alice Mudengi and I am from Kenya. You are not supposed to jump over a pregnant woman, and that is because people believe that if you do that, that she is going to give birth to a very short child who's never going to grow at all. So anytime you made that mistake of jumping over a pregnant woman who might have been sitting very comfortably under a tree, she made you jump back again.
In the 9 months of time, she shouldn't go out after it is sunset. And if an eclipse is to happen during the 9 months, that is the most difficult day for the pregnant woman. She's not supposed to do anything. She's not supposed to chop vegetables. Maybe one of the ears of the babies will be chopped. Or she's not supposed to sit crossed legs so that the baby's legs are not bow-shaped.
My name is Chikodili. I am from Anambra State in Nigeria, which is the Igbo tribe. Women were not allowed to have sexual relations with their husband whilst they were pregnant because that would make the baby mad. By mad, I mean insane, not angry.
7:04 a.m. Wide straps hang round my belly, chest and forearm, connecting me to familiar monitors in this unfamiliar environment. Steve has chosen to scrutinise the fetal heart rate. I can't bear to lie here, distractedly interpreting one more trace. We have watched so much of this baby through scans, and now its green heart rhythm fills the black screen. The midwife studies the array of monitoring equipment, weighing up her chances. Don't push just yet, she appears to plead to the blood pressure machine. I need to hand over to the early shift.
In 2005, 97.33% of births in England took place in hospitals, NHS or private. Are we ready, ladies, for the handover?
Coming. I'm ready.
7:06 a.m. I cannot bear it any longer. The midwife has been gone for hours. I rip off all my straps, wires and leads. The screens go blank. Cacophonies of alarms screech their unhappiness. Hey, cries Steve. I was watching that. Here, thankfully, he does not hold a remote control. I cannot hold my temper. It is a baby, and I need to caress its soft, warm flesh. I swear loudly at him, rising up on my knees, and feel an urge to push overwhelm me. Buzzers sound and footsteps run. Through my matted, sweaty fringe, I see my own son, and cry as I welcome him into this world.
From the private ease of mother's womb, I fall into the lighted room. Why don't they simply put me back, where it is wet and warm and black? But one thing follows on another. Things were different inside mother. Padded and jolly I would ride, the perfect comfort of her inside. They tuck me in a rustling bed, and I lie there raging small and red. I may sleep soon, I may forget, but I won't forget that I regret. A rain of blood poured round her womb, but all time roars outside this room.
The night shift has been busy with 4 births, 2 patients are still in labour, and 1 has just come in.
Lucy and her partner had planned a water birth. However, when Lucy is shown into the birth room, she curls up on the bed and states she wants to stay where she is and continue with the body massage she has been having at home. She is a low-risk woman expecting her first baby, due in 2 days. Lucy went into spontaneous labour during the night, and as the contractions became more frequent, she decided to come into the hospital setting. I supervise my student as she checks Lucy's observations: blood pressure, pulse, temperature and urinalysis. All are within normal limits. Lucy is now experiencing strong uterine contractions every 3 minutes. We palpate Lucy's abdomen during the contractions to assess the size of the baby, the way the baby is lying, checking the baby's head first, its engagement, the amount of fluid around the baby, and how the baby is moving. The baby's heartbeat is counted using a PNAD stethoscope. Lucy continues to cope well and receive massage. After a few hours, she experiences a strong urge to push during contractions. I reassure her that she is probably in the 2nd stage of labour. With her consent, I carry out a vaginal examination which confirms this, and I encourage her to push during the contractions if she feels like it. The student and I prepare the room using the birth pack, which contains bowls, swabs, cord clamps and scissors to cut the cord. Then I inform the midwife coordinating the birth centre that Lucy is in the second stage of labour, at which point Lucy's mum becomes worried that she needs to put some money in the meter for her car. We tell her she will miss the birth if she does. Lucy is becoming restless and states, "I cannot do this anymore, just get this baby out of me." Everyone in the room supports her, and she continues to push well until a baby girl is born. Lucy takes her daughter into her arms, providing skin-to-skin contact. The baby soon latches onto her mother's breast and starts to breastfeed. After approximately 20 minutes, Lucy experiences some painful contractions. We notice the cord has lengthened and there is a small gush of blood. I check that Lucy's womb has contracted. As Lucy can feel the placenta, we encourage her to expel it with the membranes. After the delivery, I check that Lucy's womb is still well contracted and check the blood loss. I also check Lucy's perineum, but she doesn't need any stitches. She continues to breastfeed her daughter, while the student and I make tea and toast for everyone.
According to the local custom, if one is expecting a baby, her family members will tell their friends and relatives the good news. The friends and relatives will come and visit the expecting lady, and usually they will bring some dates, peanuts, longans, and lotus seeds. These four, meaning in Chinese, give birth to a baby early.
According to Indian food habits, we treat food as either hot or cold, not temperature-wise, but the intrinsic quality of the food, which has a lot of heat. So something like papaya, not supposed to be eaten. In lots of Tamil families, they are not supposed to eat sesame seeds, not at all.
This is Gayatri, and I'm a working woman living in Delhi. I was told that I can't visit my mum's house throughout my 8th month of my pregnancy. So my mum nicely planned her trip down south at that time so that, I wouldn't miss her and she wouldn't miss me. So she said, "I'll give you ghee with your milk." And ghee is basically, I think, liquefied, heavy-duty, saturated fat butter. And she said, "I'm going to give you ghee with your milk every day, and that'll ease your labor, and the baby will just slip through." It turned out that I couldn't escape it, really, at the end of it, because I would come for breakfast in the morning and I would find a tall glass of milk with a big tablespoon of ghee floating on top of it, and I had to drink it because I just needed that hot glass of milk to get me through the day. And every morning I would have this glass of milk with ghee, and in the end I had a cesarean, so it didn't help in any way.
Women were prohibited from eating certain foods like snails because it will make the baby have excess saliva, groundnuts because the baby would have an itchy throat, cough.
And people have their own way to tell whether it's a baby boy or a baby girl. They simply judge it from the would-be mother's appetite. If she likes to eat something spicy, then she's likely to have a baby girl. If she prefers to eat something sour, then a baby boy.
Certainly men were not allowed anywhere near, the place where the woman was giving birth. And they'd only get to know about the sex of the child because the midwife would, or the traditional birth attendant would come out and ululate. And then they'd know, depending on, it would be something like 5 for a boy and 3 for a girl, then you know the sex.
When a Jinping woman is pregnant, they have not any taboo for woman's food, but she could not eat a soft-shell turtle. They think if she eats this, the baby will not have neck.
I think down south, it's believed that if you have saffron in your milk, you'll have a fair baby. But I do know that my mother's sister had saffron in her milk throughout her pregnancy because they were very keen to have a fair baby. And her baby turned out absolutely dark. And I'd heard that a lot of people in the north say that if you have too much of tea, then your baby might turn out to be really dark complexioned. So every evening I would force myself to have a cup of tea because I wanted my baby to have a balanced complexion. I didn't want my baby to be really, horribly fair. Sorry, no offense, but...
The older woman wise and tell Anna, first time baby mother, hold a stone upon your head and follow a straight line go home. For like how Anna was working in the field, grass weeder, right up till the appointed hour that the baby was to come. Right up till the appointed hour when her clear heraldic water broke free and washed her down. Dry birth for you, young mother. The distance between field and home coming like the Gobi Desert now. But your first baby must be born abed. Put the woman's stone on your head and walk through no man's land, go home. When you walk, the stone, and not you yet, will bear down.
The morning's appointments went well. 3 sets of twins and 1 singleton scanned. Results of IVF treatment are really beginning to show in my work. As I eat a sandwich at my desk, I take a phone call from the local social worker. The name Deborah X was presented to me. Heavily pregnant, determined to keep it, has a problem with doctors, teachers, her mother's latest boyfriend, suspended from school. Whole thing is a nightmare, not even being assessed by you lot. Why was it that not one positive element appeared in this social worker's assessment? Intrigued, I left my office to begin my afternoon appointments. Through the window, the rain bounced off the concrete. Deborah? A body hunched under soaking wet red hair rises hesitantly. Our eyes meet. I do not look away. No more than 14, frightened and alone, and at least 5 months gone. I smile, take a step forward, reach for Debbie's hand, and gently lead her to the consulting room. This appointment is going to take a long time. Well, I don't think I need to confirm your pregnancy, I offer. Debbie, despite herself, laughs and unhunches her body. This could be the first time anyone has mentioned the P word to her without a lecture. Instead, let me take your first family portrait. We walk down the corridor to the ultrasound scan. As I help her climb up onto the couch, I notice Debbie look at the screen with all the excited expectancy others reserve for a movie premiere. We watch in silence as I move the transducer over Debbie's swollen belly. Debbie is bewildered by the unfamiliar images moving across the screen until I start pointing out the moving organs and limbs. A healthy girl. Debbie feels as though a winning envelope has just been opened. She has finally met an adult who talks to her without giving the impression that she would rather be elsewhere, and she knows she has an opportunity to give so much love to her daughter. Love she has not received herself. She'll not get it wrong. She'll be a proud, if slightly too young, single mother.
We were low on petrol, so I said, let's freewheel when we get to the hill. It was dawn, and the city was nursing its quiet, and I liked the idea of arriving with barely a crunch on the gravel. You smiled kindly and eased the clutch gently and backed us out of the driveway and patted my knee with exactly the gesture you used when we were courting. Remember, on the way to your brother's. I like driving with my baby, that's what you said. And at the time, I wondered why my heart leapt and leapt.
In 2000, in the most developed regions of the world, the neonatal mortality rate was 5 per 1,000. In the least developed countries, it was 42 per 1,000.
The number of babies who died during delivery, intrapartum stillbirths, was 0.4 per 1,000 in Western Europe and 15 per 1,000 in Western Africa.
Just 4% fewer babies were born in Angola than in the UK, but Angola had nearly 10 times as many perinatal deaths.
Rachel, midwife. The room is almost dark when I enter. The girl's clinging to her mother. The midwife looks worn out, helpless in the face of the girl's onslaught. We're waiting for the anaesthetist. She needs an epidural, she explains. After my colleague has given the handover and gone home, I introduce myself. The girl's too far gone to notice. Her mother smiles weakly. The anaesthetist arrives, and we work together to give the girl some respite. It's slow, as every time she has a contraction, the girl stops and screams. In between, she's limp, her body exhausted by the forces within. We manage to position her curled over a pillow, skinny spine exposed to the shiny needles and soothing words of the anaesthetist. He's quick and efficient. Within a few minutes, the pain is gone. We help the girl sit back on the pillows. Her eyes are red with tears and lack of sleep, but she takes a sip of water and asks me how long now. Some hours yet, I say. Get some rest. The girl begins to sleep. Her mother and I become watchers by the sleeping girl. I watch the machines, and her mother watches her child. Time passes slowly, marked by the steady beat of the baby's heart on machines and cups of tea. Eventually it's time for me to examine the girl, to see how her labour is progressing. I've repositioned the monitor on her stomach so I know the baby is moving, making its way down and round the intricate pattern that is her pelvis. My fingers confirm this, and all's going well. The girl's cervix can no longer be felt. Instead, I feel the smoothness of the baby's head. Almost there. I don't think your baby has much hair. We should see for sure soon, I announced to the waiting room. The relief is almost palpable, and we begin to laugh. The girl wipes her face and cleans her teeth and becomes fully awake, ready to greet her baby. Try and have a push, I say as I feel a contraction tightening and gripping her abdomen. The girl really has to want this. Without the feeling, pushing is hard. The girl pushes feebly. I don't want her to end up with a ventouse or forceps delivery, so I sit on the edge of the bed and explain. You push right into your bottom with all your strength. I'll tell you when the contraction starts, and push as much as you can at that time. The girl looks hesitant. This is a big test for her. Okay, here we go. Push. She surprises me, and I can see her tissues move aside in response to the baby moving down. The next contraction I see a slit opening, and her baby's head is visible for the first time. I can see the head. After brief sips of water and a wipe with a cool flannel, she wants to push. She is driven. This is a fundamental force. The baby stretches and tests her flesh. The tissues become so thin you feel they could rip at any moment, but they're saved as the tightest point is reached and passed. The nose, mouth and chin are caressed and born. My hands easing the flesh, then a pull down and up, and the baby arrives wet and bloody on the girl's naked abdomen. She clasps her baby to her and looks as if confused for a moment. I place a warm towel over the baby, who is rapidly changing from grey to pink. He has no hair, after all.
I am Marilu Santelian. I came from Philippines.
The food are being served with lots of vegetables with coconut milk to produce more milk for the mom. And then after birth, the mom's umbilical cord, where the umbilical cord is the navel, they put some salt in it to prevent more stomachache or whatsoever that's going on to it. And then for the rice that is being served to the mom, you have to take it with both hands so that both breasts will be balanced. So everything that is being served, you have to do it balanced.
After I gave birth to my daughter in Beijing 7 years ago, my mom came all the way from my hometown to take care of me. And she insisted that I follow the custom which prevails in many parts of China. That means I didn't go outside the apartment for 1 month. And during that month, I wasn't supposed to eat anything cold, take a shower, or even wash my hair. So you could imagine how uncomfortable it was. And in the last week, I simply couldn't bear it. I felt so filthy that I eventually took a shower secretly.
I was told to lie down for first 40 days. That is when your stitches are still open. A lot of women have backaches after their delivery, especially if it is a cesarean section. So the back is told to be rested. And then we also have the massage woman coming in. That woman starts coming in after you're home, say about on the 5th or 6th day of the delivery. Normally, the baby is given a massage with gram flour. But the doctors say don't do that because that might give him infection, the baby. But still lots of women do it because it's supposed to be good for the skin, and it also removes the unwanted hair the baby has and also makes it fair maybe. And the woman also, if she has had a normal delivery, she's given a massage, a whole body massage with hot oil, warm oil, and it really makes you relax. For the 9 months you've carried so much weight inside you, and the pains of the delivery, it's really difficult.
Then the sweets give to the mother here and put in the center of the nipple, so that the milk of the mom is sweet.
Each birth is a blessing, and each birth is a ceremony of life. When the child is born, a presentation is made to present the child to the earth, to the different elements, the sky, the stars, the mountains. Not only is it a presentation to the elements, but also a presentation to the family and all the ancestors.
The mother, within 3 months, is not allowed to go under the rain because it might cause the mother to die, or it might cause the mother to be ill very severely.
They do this thing where they boil very hot water and they put it on a rag. It's called imamilioko. Basically what it translates to is dabbing the body with hot water. Apparently it's really painful. They do it all over your body, and you can imagine giving birth to something the size of a melon and then having to have hot water put there. And apparently if you don't do that, they say you become open like that forever.
What I've seen from people from the Andes, the most widespread custom is to the newborn baby is scared easily, or asustado, scared. So to prevent that, they always put like a bandage around all his body. First around the legs, then around the body, and then around the arms. In this way they can keep the baby quiet so he won't be scared. It can go as long as 6 months, until they notice that he can sit by himself.
When Laura was born, Kerry watched. They all gathered round Mum's bed. Dad and the midwife and Mum's sister and Kerry. Move over a bit, Dad said. He was trying to focus the camcorder on Mum's legs and the baby's head. After she had a little sister, and Mum had gone back to being thin and was twice as busy, Kerry played the video again and again. She watched Laura come out and then, in reverse, made her go back in. Medical student. I'm hovering at the side of the surgical theatre, stifled by my mask, gloves and swathes of green gowns. The consultant jostles beside me, impatiently trying to quieten her stamping feet. Centre stage lies a woman, hospital gowned, sockless with chapped red nail polish roughly painted over her toes. An anaesthetist dances round her, keeping time with his whirring machines. A steady bleep, bleep, bleep marks the life beat. Silently, nurses perform a memorised ballet and glide elegantly around their well-marked territory, assured and confident. Squelch, and the theatre door whooshes open. Another character joins the scene, an African woman, majestic in her freshly pressed scrubs. A smile darts across the face of the woman on the table as her sister takes her position by her head. A curt nod from the anaesthetist, and suddenly my consultant is freed from her shackles. Confidently and calmly, she smiles at the woman and begins to shroud her. I stand opposite her, an unarmed helper desperately searching to mirror 20-odd years of experience in a single moment. A small frame is constructed just above the patient's neck. The curtain falls and momentarily I lose sight of her face. On tiptoe I peer down and smile. Tears caress polished ebony skin. I notice plaits poking out of her surgical cap. Let's begin. With neat, efficient, beautiful strokes, layers of skin, fat, tissue and muscle are peeled away. The surgeon works quickly, pressured by time. I am guided swiftly into this art, this beauty. Medicine. Stretch here, the surgeon commands in low tones, guiding my hands. A hymn punctures the medical air.
This is my story, this is my story.
Looking down, the womb lies under my hands, warm and pulsating with life. The birth is premature at 6 instead of 9 months. The consultant draws a glinting tool through the soft, innocent surface. Warm fluid gushes dangerously towards our feet, suddenly blood. Behind the curtain the song continues, rising in peaks and waves. And then I see it. A him or a her, we can't be sure yet. A small bum peeps out.
With his goodness, lost in his love.
Time marches on. I begin to panic, feeling hot. Then I see feet, legs, and reluctantly a whole baby appears. Born but attached, the baby dangles confused. I cut the cord and he's free. I look with wonder at this small, wrinkly thing. It looks too pale. The baby's wrenched quickly from us, swaddled in mountains of white blankets, and the action moves to the side of the room. Silence. My consultant continues her deft, practised techniques. Oddly, my hands obey her whispered commands, and yet I'm suspended, anxiously waiting. From behind the green curtain, a sobbing voice cries, my baby, is he okay? Is he okay? Seconds later, she is answered by a tiny yet unmistakable whimper. What a relief. A beam behind my mask. Cradled in the arms of a green-sheathed doctor, the baby, our new protagonist, briefly pauses at his mother's head, and with another squelch of the sticky door, he's out of sight.
Is the baby all right? Yes. Do I really know that? Do I really know what is inside my head? Is the baby okay? Yes. Hand on heart. Heart rate good, respiration rate normal, tone just right, colour grey. Put the clues together. Can't get this wrong, little one. Nameless one whose future depends on me at this moment. Special school or university, together or alone, joy or none. Yes. Why so quiet, baby? Still a silent Buddha. Heart rate okay, breathing normal. Masked eyes on me. Silent in a bright, cold butcher's womb. Do you need a paediatrician? No. Definite now. Trusting my bones. Taking the quiet bundle into waiting arms.
Already you are moving down. Already your floating head engaged in the inlet from where you will head out. Already the world. And you are slipping down, away from my heart.
If anybody wants an obstetrician, tell them to page me.
Okay.
I'm going out to get a breath of fresh air. See ya.
Sunday morning, 7 o'clock, and my alarm goes off. Oh, my poor body. How tired you are. I've been on call since Friday, working non-stop. Today is my last day. I hope it's quiet. At the handover, this arrogant senior registrar tells me about a mad woman. She has had a cesarean section before and is now 17 days past her due date, but is insisting on having a vaginal birth in spite of all the advice she'd had from him and many other professionals, doctors and midwives. The registrar says the risk she's taking is really high. In my head, alarm bells ring. He had seen her when she came into the delivery suite at 6 o'clock this morning. Her waters had broken, but as labour wasn't established, he had allowed her to go home until it was. So around midday, this woman, I say she was stubborn, not mad, and her partner came back in, and it was my turn to see her. On my way to her room, I thought of all the discussion and counselling she'd had already. How could I hope to change her mind? Oh my God, what figure could I give her if she asked what the chances of having a vaginal delivery were? I introduce myself, and the couple look at me, then at each other, then back at me. Before I can say, I know you're keen on having a normal birth, she says, I think it's all in my notes, doctor. I believe that I will have it normally. My sister had a similar situation, and she's fine, and her baby is fine. How is the baby? Is the baby moving well? Yes, the baby's fine. Doctor, I know you will tell me that the baby needs to be monitored all the time, but I really don't want that. The midwife told us in the antenatal classes that I should move around in labor. That's what I want to do. Mrs. Smith, I do respect all your wishes, but please let me examine you first, and we need to check the baby's heart rate every now and then, around 10 minutes in every 20. We need to be sure that your baby is happy with these contractions. Is that a good deal? Okay, doctor, that's fine. Can I have the needle in the back? What do you call it, epidural? Is that right? Yes, of course. I'll ask the anesthetist to come in and have a chat with you about it, and if you're happy, I can't think of a reason why not. I examine her tummy and feel the baby. It is really large, more than 10 pounds. Then I examine her vaginally. She is in early labor. The neck of the womb is only 3 centimeters open. In the delivery suite, everyone is talking about her. They look at the board, point at her name, and ask why she's not having a cesarean section. I keep thinking, what should the next step be? I am in a dilemma. A conflict between, on the one hand, the medical facts I have learned by heart and my own beliefs, and on the other hand, respect for this woman's autonomy. It's her body, her baby. Who knows, maybe she'll be lucky and have a normal birth. Hours pass. She progresses really well. Then suddenly, I hear the midwife calling me. Mrs. Smith has terrible pain in her abdomen. My heart beats. It has happened. I run to her room. As soon as I enter, I see the horror in their eyes. We move the woman immediately to the theatre, getting her to sign a consent form on the way, and in no time she's asleep. We open her abdomen. The baby is sitting there, outside the womb. The womb has ruptured and the baby has come out. The baby looks innocent and cute, but dead. I will never forget this baby. For a second, I feel as if it is my baby. The woman is my patient. The whole situation is a disaster. If I could have a time machine, I would go back and change it all. This poor woman has gone through 9 months planning a new life, a happy new life for herself. And what has she got? A beautiful baby, but a dead one. She's ended up with a miserable memory, one she will never forget. Could I have changed that? I wish.
Today was my most normal day for a long time.
Normal? What's normal?
You know what I mean, when everything goes well, there were no problems.
Lucky you.
You going?
Of course I'm going, I'm finished.
Lola, do you want some tea?
Oh, please.
Oh, that would be just so wonderful. I'm still to put my stuff on the blessed computer. Okay. In 2005, the lifetime risk of maternal death in industrialized countries was 1 in every 8,000. In developing countries, the risk was 1 in 76, and in the least developed countries, it was 1 in 24.
The World Bank estimated that the lifetime risk of maternal death in low-income countries was 1 in 40, while in high-income countries it was 1 in every 6,700.
Poor wee thing.
Heroin baby. She sneezed. The one baby in the office. The only baby on the ward without a mother by her side. She sneezed again, then cried, uncomforted. Staff too busy right now to deal with the jittery baby. Her call for a cuddle ignored. The methadone wearing off, needing the next dose. She sneezed. A nurse enters the office and holds her close. She slowly settles into an agitated sleep.
Evening.
Hello, what are you doing here?
I heard you were short-staffed.
Oh, you've come to work.
It is what I normally do in a hospital.
We're going home. Cheer up.
Couldn't sleep.
Times like this you wonder why you ever became a midwife.
Her waters broke the day before. When the baby was coming out, she said it felt like sandpaper. She screamed and screamed. I was 8 years old at the time, standing in the kitchen, wide-eyed and unnoticed, listening to an adult account of a story that was not meant for young ears. Female relatives would appear at family gatherings with swollen stomachs. There's a baby in there, we children were made to understand. Questions were formed in my mind, wordless longings that could take no definite shape, a vague notion that my curiosity was inappropriate. Children running from the gardens, pausing to grab food from the kitchen, hear snatches of conversation. I spent the first 3 months hugging the toilet bowl. I couldn't keep anything down. An invisible barrier seemed to exist around the mothers during these conversations. Phrases would slip out from between the cracks into the air, expanding, existing without explanation or apology. At the next family gathering, the new mother would appear with a baby in her arms. She would hold the look in her eyes of a veteran returning from war. My mothers would recognize this look and ask, "How long was it?" 48 hours, 36 of them on my back. They would nod to one another, and an unspoken agreement would flow among them. The new mother would be welcomed as one of them, part of the sisterhood, her suffering a rite of passage.
I am the ship in which you sail, little dancing bones, your passage between the dream and the waking dream, your sieve, your pea-green boat. I'll pay whatever toll your ferry needs, and you, whose history is already charted in a rope of cells, be tender to those other unnamed vessels, who will surprise you one day, tugging irresistible, and float you out beyond your depth, where you'll look down, puzzled, amazed.
I'm not going to have any children, I repeatedly told my mothers. Wait and see, they answered with their silence. Now that I have crossed the threshold into knowing, my mothers freely share their stories with me. Regrets, shame, anguish, suffering, ignorance, sorrow. These are now given to me to do with as I please. My mothers do not ask for my agreement or approval. They just want my understanding. There's no room in this club for joys and triumphs. Now, dear, these are very interesting photos, but I don't think they're appropriate to show your younger cousins. I tell a different story when I am released from my family of mothers. I belong to a secret group of women who reveled in the power of their contractions and shouted in victory as their little ones slipped into the world. It's not that bad, I tell the uninitiated. I smile brightly with confidence. I look them straight in the eye. They look back at me doubtfully. They probably think I'm weird. Still, I work furtively, seeking other mothers to add to the secret club. They come to me as a confessor to a priest. With timid smiles and a glance over their shoulders, they confide, "I actually enjoyed my labor." I know. Me too. Welcome, sisters.
Claro, pero por ejemplo después, los regalos que el niño recibe tal vez son las historias que le cuenta el
After the birth, the child receives gifts of stories that are told to them by the grandparents or parents. There is no concept of material gifts, but sometimes our ceremonies are gifts. The birth of a child is a ceremony of life which moves us. And when the child is born, it is taken out of a space where it has been for 9 months and leaves for another place when its body is ready. And the mother's body has to return to its previous form. So it is overall a natural process. And also the child needs to be cared for, which comes from an instinct that we all have here, at the center of our hearts.
The house looks quiet. No screams. Curtains closed. Wrong house? No. A woman ushers another woman in. A ritual. Millennia after millennia of hushed voices and dimmed lights. Primitive in its simplicity. made complex by modernity. The house smells. Is it cats or dogs? Urine? Fat? Who knows? Bleary-eyed, unkempt children lie entwined on a broken sofa, bottles in mouths and dirty pyjamas. Taken out of bed? Why? To witness? To make room? To come with their own mother? A friend? No men here. This is a woman's space. The dad's not around, the friend tells me as we mount the stairs, but we stick together. Another woman proffers tea. People, children, like ghosts slipping in and out of rooms. I finally find her, on the bed. 5 children before. She's seen it all. Calm and quiet, breathing through her contractions, swaying slightly, another friend holding her hand, been there for the last 3, and 2 of her own. The contraction gone, and the woman snaps back to the present. Hello, love. You the midwife? I smile. We'll be okay here. Introduction's done. The next contraction intercedes, and she's gone again, gripping her friend's hand, knuckles white, thin legs below bump, moving as she negotiates her pain. Her passenger battering through her inner flesh, staking its claim to life. My hands are cold, and I'm sorry. I don't want to threaten her journey, to make her hurt more, but I need to feel the child, to hear its heart, to feel the tightening of her belly. I lay on hands. How lucky I am. The woman looks beautiful in the dim light, her stomach taut. I can feel her child. It's back to the left, limbs to the right, head deep in the woman's bones. The fetal heart echoes round the room. It's normal, strong and steady, not threatened by transition. Then I have to feel the unseeable, the warmth of her internal world. Eyes closed, I feel the hardness of the child's head. Nature's clues. Sutures in the diagonal, posterior fontanelle easily felt, the cervix nearly gone, merged into her womb, not long now. You finished, love? I'm dying for a fag. Your baby will be here soon. She knows that, of course. That's why she's having a fag now, before it all kicks off. I take the oxygen and nitrous oxide into another room. The second midwife, my friend, and her student arrive. We chat while the woman snatches a smoke. Time drifts in the shabby room. We are outside time, as we sit and watch or stroke or hold as the woman moves her thin, pale frame from place to place to cheat her pain, or make it easier for her child, to just be for a minute outside it all. The atmosphere charges. Myself and the other midwife feel it, smell it, hear it. The woman begins to catch at the end of the contractions. The student laughs as we both unconsciously put on our gloves at the same time. The woman isn't coming back anymore. She's in her own head. Her friend looks anxious. In the background, a child cries for a brief moment, and a head pops round the door but disappears quickly. This moment, this transition, it's in our blood to sense it. The woman loses it and starts to scream. Look at me, I say, and we lock eyes. I feel her power and her animal panic. You're okay. I have to believe it, down to my bones to hold her steady. She calms. I need to push. She's desperate. Then do, I say. Do what your body is telling you to do. She stretches, opens, a dark slit quickly spreading into a circle. Flesh straining, burning, the smell of liquor and shit, the smell of birth. Pant. Slow. Slow. I desperately don't want her so delicate flesh to tear. Part pride, part care. Her flesh bumps against a nose and then a chin. The baby's face is free. Eyes closed and peaceful. A perfect Buddha every time. Then a final push, and with arms open wide, the baby takes a breath, almost as if life itself began at that moment. Welcome to the world, little one, and I hope it's a good one for you. My own silent mantra for the child. Onto the mother's tummy. Women are laughing. The woman is dazed, hanging onto her newborn child, almost absent-minded, as she stares down as if broken from a dream. My friend and I do what we do then, give injections to deliver the placenta, a barrier brought down between us and the experience. Later, a nice cup of tea, and 30 minutes later, the woman is tucked up in bed with her baby, safe, intact and happy, chatting with her friends. The new baby is being held gently by its older brother, hurriedly woken from the bedroom downstairs, while older sister explains the mechanism of the escape from Mummy's tummy. It feels like every nativity scene, and it's time for us to leave, as we only play a bit part.
It is well known that we are born. It is well known that in the room, or in the woods, or in the hut in the fisherman's district, or in the crackling cane fields, there is a very unusual silence, a moment solemn as wood, and a woman gets ready to give birth. It is well known that we were born. But of the profound jolt from not being to existing, to having hands, to seeing, to having eyes, to eating and crying and overflowing and loving and suffering, of that transition or shudder, of the electric essence that takes on one more body like a cup, and of that disinhabited woman, the mother who is left there with her blood, and her torn fullness, and her end, and the beginning, and the disorder that troubles the pulse, the floor, the blankets, and everything gathers and adds one more knot to the tree of life. Nothing. There is nothing left in your memory of the fierce sea that lifted a wave and knocked down a dark apple from the tree. The only thing you remember is your life. In Birthing Stories, a collaboration between BBC World Service and King's College London, dramaturged and compiled by Claire Luckham. Maria was played by Tanya Moody and Christine by Susan Lynch. Sophie was Raquel Cassidy, Monica Anna Maria Marinka, Lola Zita Sattar, Young Liz Sutherland, Katie Rachel Atkins, and the dad Alex Lanipekun. Poetry was by Pablo Neruda, read by Martin Marquez, William Blake, Sharon Olds, Tom Gunn, Lorna Goodison, Kate Clancy, Fleur Adcock, Victoria Reddell, and Maura Dooley. The production coordinator was Selena Ream. Birthing Stories was a BBC World Service production. The director was Marion Nancaro.